Hey everyone, where is Bitcoin and the crypto markets going from here? We went down 1 point from the Fear and Greed Index from my last update on Monday. Ethereum is now sub 2,000 and Bitcoin has fallen underneath the 84,000 mark. Things are not looking good heading into the weekend. What's causing this is more of the same: tariff scares, inflation control, yada yada. We've been talking about this for the last 2-3 months now, first quarter of 2025, and this is going to continue probably to the end of 2025, the last quarter, for all these executive orders, to all these ripple effects, to see what comes out of all of this news. That's what people are trying to wrap their head around, the ripple effects, because we know what's happening, but we don't know how it's going to ripple into different sectors. Here's a perfect example, like tariffs on automobiles, which has pushed gold prices up. So that's a ripple. That's good news for gold holders. But how might driving up prices on foreign automobiles ripple into other sectors? And that's what people don't know. That's what Wall Street doesn't know. And that's why there's uncertainty. I, for one, am looking to purchase a secondary car, and I might do so before these tariffs hit. And something to think about if you're in a market for a car, new or used. Just my 2 cents. Other macro news affecting crypto market prices: Bitcoin and Ethereum options that are expiring. Close to 30 billion in total. That's a lot. Personally, I've seen this firsthand when I logged on to Coinbase just yesterday. They suggested that I trade futures on Bitcoin because of the tax benefits. Now, if Coinbase is doing this, then many other exchanges may follow. Calls, puts, options, futures. This is not holding Bitcoin. This is just trading on the volatility of Bitcoin, and that could be another reason Bitcoin is seeing some volatility right now. Personally, I'm buying more Bitcoin, and it seems like whales are doing the same. They bought 129,000 Bitcoin since March 11th, the highest since August 2024, signaling confidence in major players. Personally, I've never been more confident. This is a great time to buy. Which may be why South Carolina is introducing a bill to buy 10% of Bitcoin utilizing state funds, outdoing their neighbor, North Carolina. But I just did that market update 2 days ago. You can go back to that. North Carolina doing 5%. South Carolina is like, nah, we're doing 10%, gonna up them. Sometimes it's good to look at the macro, but sometimes it's just good to zoom into Web3 news because it's way more positive in my opinion. Lawsuits being dropped again. Kraken, Consensus, Cumberland. I don't need to bring this up anymore, but we have a very pro-crypto administration and they're paving a way for stablecoins to come. And this is disappointing in my opinion because it says no yield-bearing stables. I want yield-bearing stables. Banks, credit unions, and non-banks can issue, okay, whatever. Fully backed, that's great. States can certify their own, but must exceed, okay, great. No algo stables for 2 years. There are algorithmic stables out there, which is supported by like dynamic floating tokens. If you guys know about the Luna fiasco, that was like a dynamic algo stable. I don't personally like them, but I guess there's some use cases for them. Anyways, what I got out of this is that there's no interest or yield bearing stablecoins to the holders. What? But guess what? DeFi bros will find a way to give you DeFi token yields with your stables. I'm sure of it. Now the question is, will the USA blacklist this if you take your stables and do something crazy with it on DeFi? I don't know that they will, but something to keep an eye out for. Because personally, I'm falling in love with DeFi. The last few years have been more, I wouldn't say the Wild Wild West. It still is the Wild West in DeFi. But it seems like people are more familiar with DeFi nowadays and more comfortable utilizing them. Liquidity pools are providing more incentives than the DeFi token incentives themselves. So basically, supply side people like me and you are earning more yields for our DeFi interactions. More so from the protocol itself, like the network or the blockchain itself. Great to see DeFi is in full effect. I carved out a small portion of my portfolio for DeFi. I think that's going to get bigger and bigger. And if you want to learn how to play that game, click on my link down below. Because why get 3-4% on your, not stables, on your fiat in a SoFi bank or a Citibank or whatnot, when you can get 30% on stables, relatively safe, depending if you're okay with self-custody, if the government steps in and provide a lot of security upgrades, a lot of financial institutions to allow DeFi, that will be great because, security will be in much smarter hands. All right, I did not see this coming. What is this? Say Networks, one of the podcast guests that we brought on last week, actually, I interviewed one of the co-founders. They're looking to purchase 23andMe. Now, this can only be a play for getting people's information, specifically their DNA information. What is Say trying to do here? Say is more specifically like a lightning fast network for, traditional, traditional is wrong word, for financial interactions on a blockchain. But they want to get people's information. And now what could this mean? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask the co-founder that we interviewed. This is very interesting to me. Never a boring day in crypto, I tell you that. And guess what? Ghibli, the manga from a Japanese cartoon series, have taken the world by storm. If you didn't know, ChatGPT had an upgrade and you can, create images utilizing cartoon and manga in this instance. And people just fell in love with Ghibli, the manga, and the whole world started utilizing it. Of course, crypto had to create a meme out of it and went from 0 to 35 millions in a matter of a few days, and getting a listing on Kraken after the White House made a ChatGPT cartoon Ghibli animation right here. Not very tasteful in my opinion. They wanted to highlight a fentanyl drug dealer, but I don't know, timely? I don't know. What's your opinion? In either case, this quite literally melted GPUs for OpenAI, and they had to put limiters on this. Now, what does this have to do with Web3 besides the meme coin? Let me tell you. Potentially NFTs. Intriguing thread about NFTs and digital ownership and provenance. And basically what it says here is that NFTs came too early before there was a use case. I think people with foresight like myself knew that every company will integrate NFTs in some way or fashion. And of course, there's utility for it in every instance to make things more efficient. However, he's just imagining a system where maybe the Ghibli founder, who is still alive, could have got paid a micropayment to utilize his artwork, so that every time someone prompted and created a cartoon with his style of anime or drawing or whatnot, he get a micropayment for it. Especially when they write out the prompt Ghibli or Ghibli-like, you can't really, they'll figure it out. Anyways, but if these micropayments are possible, then that person could have done really, really well and potentially not be upset that people is utilizing his artwork for absolutely free. Because the founder did come out and say in 2016 that he hates AI. Maybe his tune has changed since then, but here, this is the founder. And I don't think he'll hate it if he made a couple of millions of dollars off of it. In any case, great use case for microtransactions to NFTs to track provenance and artist creation and royalties. Amazing to one day see that happen in the future, because undoubtedly it's going to happen in the near future. I do need to make a call that my colleague Brian sent me a message about Ghibli at 13 million. I didn't get in. It's up 2.5x from now. But he gives me great calls all the time, and we give great calls to our community all the time. So if you want to see what that is on a weekly basis, click on the link down below. We do weekly trade alerts. But if not, just subscribe, because we have 3 market updates, we have weekly rundowns, an amazing podcast guest for you guys. We'll see you guys on our next one.